Greetings, true believers! This is Dan Dashley Discusses, a comic book review show, channel, whatever you want to call it. And this week we have something incredibly special for you, a comic book that I was very excited for, Jem and the Holograms, the cover of which should be somewhere over here in this general vicinity, somewhere, wherever I decide to put it. Jem and the Holograms is a book written by Kelly Thompson and drawn by Sophie Campbell. Sophie Campbell, formerly Ross Campbell, if you hadn't been keeping up, famous for a lot of different books in which she has provided amazing art. Kelly Thompson, a prolific comic book blogger, novelist. The Girl Who Would Become King is, of course, the seminal book that everyone points to when they look at Kelly Thompson. She's an up-and-coming comic book writer, though. First time on a book. That creates sort of an exciting proposition for a lot of people. I'm going to get right into this review. Jem and the Holograms is the comic book rendition of a famous show from the 80s, which was famous for blending together rotoscoped and traditional animation, along with professional quality songs and music videos that created a rather unique blend of music and cartoon that wasn't really done in that day and age. And it's sort of become a cult phenomenon. It wasn't really the most popular show in its day and age, but since then, you'd be hard-pressed to find people that don't know what Jem and the Holograms is or don't like it. It also has a movie coming out this year that's loosely based on the cartoon, and of course IDW and Hasbro, being the opportunists that they are, decided to jump in on the bandwagon for Jem and put out this book. I'm going to start with the writing. Kelly Thompson is, of course, not a rookie when it comes to writing, having written novels and, of course, several articles about the art of comic books and how they should be crafted, so she knows what to do. This book opens up with our four main protagonists, Jerrica Benton, Kimber Benton, Aja, and Shauna, on a soundstage about to perform for a music video. This book doesn't really give us much in terms of the setup for this. It drops us right into this situation. Some might say that the book is a bit confusing with its plot because it takes a while to get into why they're there, why they're doing what they're doing. But the thing that this book does excel at immediately with the writing is the characters are portrayed in a very realistic fashion for their age and gender and life situation. Kelly Thompson excels at giving these characters different voices and personalities that shine through, not so much in a way that we're being told that Aja, with the blue hair, in case you're not familiar with Jem and the Holograms, we're not told that Aja is the tech person who's always working on something. That comes naturally through interactions between her and Kimber with the red hair, again, if you're not familiar. This actually sets a good precedent for the book. We're exposed to the parts of these characters through a very organic sort of way. It's expressed to us through their interactions, not through exposition being fired at us out of a cannon, saying, you know, Shauna's the one that keeps the band together, and Kimber wants bigger and better things, and Aja is the one working on their tech and isn't ever satisfied with their sound. We're not told these things, we're shown them, and that's good. Where the writing fails, however, is that sometimes there are bits of dialogue that don't exactly fit. I'm going to have some on screen right now that just sort of give you an example of what I mean. Kimber saying something like, "There are no more times," or "Am I evil?" These aren't bad per se, they're just not the ideal way that these lines should be written. However, this book, it does a very good job of establishing these characters. Its biggest failing, other than some misses with the dialogue, is the way that some things are presented to us. We find out that they're recording a music video for these Misfits versus contest. Now, the Misfits aren't exactly explained to us who they are. It's sort of taken for granted that some people out there reading the book should know who these people are, and they should know who the Misfits are. And so they don't explain that to us. And they also don't explain too much in detail when one of the characters, Synergy, which is the AI for a supercomputer that Jerica's dad built, when that sort of is thrusted at us, there's not a whole lot of ceremony to it. It's just, boom, there's Synergy. You know who Synergy is, right, guys? And, you know, there's some explanation, but there's not enough. The book assumes that we've watched Gem and the Holograms. At some point it does. And that's a bit of a negative. It isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, since Gem isn't exactly an obscure show, but a book has to be viewed as, you know, as its own separate entity, and you can't expect us to have watched Gem and the Holograms. Overall, I really enjoy the writing in this book, though. Despite some jokes falling flat, some dialogue sounding weird, I think Kelly Thompson does a good job of painting this picture for us, and that's where the art comes in. Sophie Campbell is no rookie. She has been around in the comic book industry for a while. Books like Glory, her work on IDW's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, her stuff, her personal stuff, Wet Moon. Campbell excels at giving us a variety of body types, a variety of art styles, all in one tight, concise package. The people look like real people do, and this is that's actually good, given that Gem and the Holograms was basically as good as that show is, and as much as I love that show, it was a show designed to sell, you know, fashion toys to children. So of course all the women in there had, you know, the same Barbie-esque sort of body type. Sophie Campbell is perfect for this book in that she can bring to the new age a Gem and the Holograms that's going to look realistic while still having these characters look good, look appealing. It gives it an appeal to everyone. You know, those people that buy comic books wanting everything to look really nice are going to enjoy Ross Campbell's believable anatomy, the way that he draws hair exceptionally well, and just sort of the ethereal type of stuff that he can bring to a being like Synergy made of pure light and energy. Sophie Campbell can do all of that stuff and more. Sophie Campbell is also a perfect choice for this book in that, being no stranger to writing, she can sort of give Kelly Thompson a push in the right direction at times. It's often obvious that Sophie is sort of putting the things where she needs to go. Like these two are collaborating on such a good level, and I think that comes from Kelly's willingness to learn and Sophie's ability to use the experience that she has. Now, the true really success of this book that blew me away in terms of the art was the coloring. The colorist was not afraid to pack in the colors where they needed to be. We've got heavy inking sometimes from Ross, and the colorist matches pound for pound by packing in the color for the hairs, for the energy, for the lights, for all the things that make Gem truly outrageous. That's what this book needs, and the colorist does it to a T. Almost so much so that I wish that the book went on for longer without even without words, just so I could look at Sophie's art alongside the coloring. It created a nice package. That art is truly what sets this book ahead of anything on shelves from IDW right now, I feel. Not to discredit some of the other books IDW is coming out with, but Sophie Campbell and Sophie Campbell's art combined with that delicious coloring create a look and feel that is not matched by almost anything out there right now. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of it, though. Here on Dan Dashley Discusses, we use a 3-point system. Either you buy it, you borrow it, or you just skip it. Buy it if I think that it's an amazing book, borrow it if I think it's worth a read but not worth your money, and skip it if I think that it's complete and total trash. I give Gem and the Holograms a buy it wholeheartedly. This is a book that you're going to enjoy if you're a fan of the show, if you're a fan of music, if you're a fan of Sophie Campbell's amazing art, or if you want to jump in on a book that's from an up-and-coming comic book author. Gem and the Holograms brings it all to you in a tight, concise package that's going places. One thing that I will say, if you're looking for the Misfits, you're not going to find them issue 1. We're going to have to wait for issue 2, but on the bright side, looks like issue 2 is going to be all Misfits, so that is certainly something that is going to be exceptional when it comes to fruition. This is Dan Dashley Discusses. Remember, these are just my opinions. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all the things down in that box that people tell you to do. Leave a request for what you want me to review next. I'm going to be doing this every week, maybe sometimes more, but if you got something that I haven't touched on that you want me to, leave a comment. I'm sure I'll get to it. Until next time, true believers.